Preparing. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Mastering the Drop, a real view of recovery, where we do our best to bring you valuable tips and tactics and tools and conversations about a life recovery journey and how that may apply to you. Anyway, this week's topic is very pertinent, but also has different layers, different textures, and different approaches to it. And that is, getting connected to our body in our recovery journey and knowing how to honor it effectively. And both Adrian and I have different approaches and different views and thought processes about it, although we both know that our different approaches are equally as valuable. Myself, as a recovery fitness professional, am always looking to get people to kind of slow down in that desire to jump straight from, I'm just going to say it, straight from the bottle to the gym, right? Because we've been taxing our bodies, whatever it is that we've been using, we've been taxing our bodies, whether that's alcohol or sugar or controlled substance, whatever it is, we have been taxing our organs, everything from our brain to our gut to our skin to everything. And the last thing we want to do is tax it further without giving it time to heal, to rest, to repair. So we don't want to go from abusing it to abusing it by throwing it into the gym 3 hours a day, 6 days a week, because we want to just suddenly create this all in, I'm going to get healthy attitude. We want to do it properly, systematically, and effectively for each individual and their body, which, sometimes can look like, getting the right tests, meeting with the right professional, and creating the most effective plan. Now, Adrian, on the other hand, has a very beautiful way of connecting with her physical body and her recovery journey and with nature and earth and all of those things. So, Adrian, I'd love for you to share the different elements and tactics that you utilized in really, connecting, honoring your body, mind, body, and spirit.
First, Tricia, thank you for having me on Mastering the Drop today. It's been, almost a year since I've been able to jump in. So thanks for thinking of me. This is my passion. This is where I have found how to recharge, how to reset, how to learn. I can access my resources that I'm about to share with you to find new ways of processing. So if I'm seeking adventure, I can pick different activities. If I'm seeking reflection, if I'm seeking, just play, I choose these different activities that I have found a really strong passion for through pacing myself and understanding myself and being like, hey, I want to try that. And how do I get there? How do I do that? One of it is paddleboarding. You probably remember years ago, I took a rafting trip down the Salmon River in Idaho, Riggins, Idaho. I was fresh. I was new recovery, like 60 days. I had stepped on a paddleboard a couple times, so I felt comfortable. My cousin had one. I took it on the lake a few times and just fell in love. And God pretty much handed me a free paddleboard retreat down the river. So I got intense one-on-one training, but I was rebirthed. I remembered who I was in this situation. So coming into myself out of, having no clue where to even begin, I really listened for opportunities and kind of that inspiration. And I just made a commitment. And I think that seeing that I'm capable of growing into something that I just, when I was sick in my addiction, it's like, yeah, right, I'll never when am I ever going to have the energy to do something like that? So, going back to, so paddleboarding, I can use for all those elements I just mentioned, like relaxation. I do yoga on my paddleboard. I do like whitewater rafting. So if I really want to go extreme, or if yesterday I just floated around and looked at the clouds with my dog on the board. It was just a way to, it's been really rainy here. I've been kind of feeling a little like, come on, summer, where are you at? And it was kind of cloudy, but some sunshine finally. And I just was like, I'm going to go charge up. I'm going to get ready. And, just the endorphins of being physical, or it's really about tuning into my body. What do I need right now? And sometimes I'll go with a plan and be like, actually, I'm going to shift this. And just sat on the beach, did some grounding, mindfulness, read some oracle cards. So I use my time in nature to really help me go internal and use nature as a resource to charge me up. I like to work with nature, not take from nature. And thinking about the state of the globe, and how we really need to shift into seeing who we are internally in relationship with nature. And like nature would love to provide for us as long as we work with it. So honoring that just connection, and knowing that I just really feel like I could plug in or I can escape. Depends on what I need.
I love that. I'm extremely fascinated with the yoga on the paddleboard. I feel like I would fall in the water, but I think that is so powerful to be able to illustrate how something so thought of as recreational can actually hold so much purpose in all of our categories that create whole health, right? We know there's 6 subcategories that go into health. It's not just physical health. But when we're talking about the mind-body connection and being able to hear what our body needs, and learning how to listen to what it's saying. I love you as you're illustrating, like I can shift because I know how to hear it and how to listen to it. Sometimes I would imagine, again, because you have a different mindfulness-based approach to this than say I do. I'm more of a cognitive, cognitive type.
Happy to answer anybody watching, or if you want to know more about mindfulness, it is a very beginner. There's no level skill involved. Happy to walk anybody through a quick mindfulness exercise that they can take with them and into their experience. And 2, I want to mention, I'm bringing up paddleboarding, which might sound like, whoa, super extreme. And I'm trying to break it down, showing that it doesn't have to be, but it's about finding something that I was passionate about. I love just walking in the woods with my dog. I just, it doesn't have to be anything super physical. It doesn't have to require a skill even. I can just go out and understand that if I breathe and listen. So it's really about these small steps. And I just want to reiterate that putting expectations on myself to do something major and big, that's not exactly what I'm referring to. I'm referring to just finding something that sparks like an interest and then seeing where that grows, and baby steps. It just, starting something new, and learning about myself and learning about the skill. So it's just, sometimes you're gonna be like, I want to do the class 3 rapid today. And you're like, well, let's like start around the lake first, so it's like, you can apply kind of that concept to any activity you want to do. I just don't want to intimidate somebody who might not be at that physical place to like hop on a paddleboard. I'm suggesting, for me, that's kind of where I found okay, let's go. Like I'm back in the world. This is what I want. This is who I am. So just finding an interest, and it doesn't have to be an extreme sport.
Right. For me, the other day, what was it? Monday, I was really needing to sit with myself, and and not push myself to do, to do more than what I was able to do. And I like to just sit somewhere where I can be grounded, right? Feel secure, feel like I'm on a solid foundation, in the sun, right? And it wasn't that warm. It wasn't like go lay out, and get a tan or anything like that. It was, I need the energy, right? Like I wanted the sun's energy. I wanted that recharge, and I wanted to do that. So, I have my spaces set up where it's like, okay, I need this. There are other times where I will sit in a completely different section on the property where the breeze is more prevalent, where I can hear wind chimes, where there are leaves over me that I can see and watch that allow me to meditate in my way, in my version. And then, there's other times where, it's nice to just go out and take a walk in the sand. And I like to do that by taking off my shoes and actually, feeling it in between my toes and things like that. So everything's doesn't have to be physically strenuous. And, I do most of my physical fitness when I'm cleaning, right? Like I'm always connecting that. Like when I vacuum, I can get a full body workout. If I'm connecting my mind with my body and I'm paying attention to what I'm doing instead of doing it mindlessly, if I'm mindful and I'm connected, then I'm actually utilizing my physical body. And
For that, I don't want to cut you off, but it really brings something up, that looking for opportunities to where we can add these, because who's not busy? Nobody has time for anything, So we do have to schedule and make our time. And I want to go back and reference the life balance wheel. I live by that. That is my chart. How am I doing? What am I doing? How do I get to where I want to be? And I schedule my paddle time like it's an appointment. I say, and then during that time, I'm not trying to do the dishes. I'm not trying to do laundry. I might throw laundry in and then go on my, let's see, do I have it here? Do you mind if I just?
No, go ahead.
It might be, I don't know if it's it might be backwards, but basically I have here, after my meeting tonight, I'm starting a women's meeting, and at 7:00, I have either go mushroom hunting or fishing and come back home in 2 hours, 9:00, wind down, go to bed, wind down, maybe TV, maybe some reading. And then because I have an early morning, I'm going to bed at 10. So it's like, I still have a stacked schedule. I'm still busy all the time, but I can schedule in me going out into the woods. So I know it's hard, and I love how you incorporated vacuuming, and that's how I hopped on that, because you're like, I can use this opportunity and, find windows and schedule those events.
Yeah. I mean, in between my session and us hopping in here, I had a few minutes. I took that time to get out for, again, 5 minutes. And while I was doing that, I engaged with my dogs, made sure everybody had water, but I was not just doing. I was connected with everything that I did. And I think the more present we are, the more connected we are, the more we allow ourselves to live this moment, one thing in the moment, the easier it can be. But if we go back to early recovery and we talk about some of the mindsets that people come to, we both have been in early recovery at one point in time in our journey. And I remember being disappointed that, everybody else where I was in my, stabilization program was off going to yoga. I wasn't medically cleared, right? So my liver was like, they were like, no, your liver functions aren't where they need to be to do yoga, which I think was tremendously commendable, because I've worked in many other programs before launching Turning Leaves, and I've worked every level of care, and that's not the general stance of a lot of programs. They're like, sure, you want to go skydiving, let's do it, and no checks and balance, or sure, you want to go, like, let's do yoga, let's, all of these things. But some places do check, and I don't want to make it sound like, treatment facilities aren't getting, medical clearance before things. But I just know that the demeanor of people is like, I want to get clean and sober, I want to get fit, I want to get healthy, yada, yada. And so they wanted to take this all or nothing attitude, that all in attitude that they had, right? Fully addicted to and relying on whatever it was. Again, it could be alcohol, prescriptions, illicit drugs, whatever it was, that you're doing this, and now you're just going to throw all that same energy into fitness. Now, okay, some people might argue with me like that's not that big of a deal, but it can be, because now we're not fixing attitudes, behaviors, and attachments.
I was going to mention about the attachment. It's an attachment to an expectation. It's an attachment to a should statement. It's about attaching a external to our internal value. So I really want to comment on the attachment aspect in our behaviors that lead to these, and bringing it back to simple steps and mindfulness helps me reorganize. Okay, what is my relationship right now with this? What is my intention for following through? And that helps me ask myself, is what I'm feeling true? What are the actual facts? Tuning in, what do I really need? Do I really need to go to the gym and do my everyday workout? Or do I need to take a bath and maybe stream a show? I understand that it is important to stay up on your routines, but it's when I become so obsessed that I feel disappointed in myself if I don't go and do something. So I really try to be gentle with myself and flexible with myself around these attachments to need to change the way I feel, or need to feel like fulfilled from a superficial level. Just obsession for me is
I love that you brought that word in. So,
yeah.
Maybe talk a little bit more about obsession and how you've seen it in your life, but also in the lives of others. Because I think people think of obsession kind of like they do with addiction, right? I'm always talking about, like people have a very narrow perspective around the words addiction and recovery. And they think it's, just for the down, the out, the ill, and the poorly functioning. But I think the same can be true for many people. When they hear the word obsession, they think it's, that person who has to, lock the door 5 times, or,
I think the obsession is when our life balance wheel becomes super hyper fixated in one area. And if we're not able to incorporate, or if it's intervening or intercepting our goals for the rest of our life, that's where an obsession, I guess it's leading to deficits in other areas.
Mm-hmm. Yes. For me, when I hear obsession, I think about those habits that we incorporate into our life, that we allow to hold us hostage, that if we can't have them on any given day for any reason, we become derailed.
Mm-hmm.
right? Like the 6 a.m. spin class. I know so many moms, especially in the pandemic, when the kids were like, oh, they can't go to school because whatever, right? Whatever reason, there's been lots of them that I've had many clients, reach out to me like, oh, my whole day is ruined. Like I'm super frustrated. I'm emotionally, a train wreck because I didn't get my spin class in this morning. That is an emotional reliance. That is an obsession with a habit that, and allowing that when really all you have to do is go, okay, be bendable, flexible, pliable, resilient, and hopefully if I froze, I did come back, yay. I know I froze there for a minute, but if I can't go at the time that I normally go or that I prefer to go, I can still say it's okay. I can go to the 6 p.m. or I can do something at home and hit that class tomorrow.
That's something I do with even with my stack schedules. I can't be rigid. I have to be flexible. I have to be open to changes and shifts, because this is something I've had to work on, is the surprise factor. When I get surprised, I can like panic. I'm like, oh, now what? Now I have to like reorganize everything. Everything is like, now this or that. Now, I can kind of like become overwhelmed just because something shifted, and I'm doing much better at not being as rigid, but still sticking to my to-do list. And you know what? If something's not a priority, but it's on there and I have to move it to the next day, great. I got everything else done. Or, I got this many things. So it's celebrating those wins and being able to see where I can make adjustments to manage the change or the day better.
I love every bit of what you just said. That is, seriously, because life happens. And so it's not, if we're super rigid, and I was just talking to a client about rigidity and how much it can lend to us breaking, right? Like we get so rigid and set on whatever our ideal version of something, anything is, that one external thing could derail it. And then we're all irritated, agitated, annoyed, frustrated, bothered, triggered, prompted, and then we're a mess because we're rigid. If we're flexible and we can bend, we can look at that and say, I like, me, I like the freeway driving example, right? But if I'm in a space and somebody cuts me off, I don't want to be so rigid as to think like that person, needs me to teach them a lesson. I just need to, back off a little bit and let them keep going, because it's their life too, right? Like we have to share the space. We have to share the world. We can't, be so rigid about everything. Like your next door neighbor might not have all of the same thoughts, feelings, emotions, opinions, beliefs, morals, ethics, whatever as you do. And it's okay. It's okay. Even if you don't agree with it, it's okay. Right. I mean, as long as it's horrible things like hurting people, but I wasn't referring to bad people, but we have to learn how to allow for, different things to be happening and moving, but also make space for everything. And I love that you brought the life balance wheel in. And I love even more that you didn't really stereotype any of them, because as we know, my life balance wheel looks different than your life balance wheel, because the different categories are defined by me for me, and yours are defined by you for you. So your spirituality may look different than my spirituality, and that's all good.
This touches on, for me, when you said I might not have to like it, but accepting that this is how it is. And the other day I was very rigid. I had a rough weekend. My husband came up to visit and he ended up getting injured. The weekend didn't go as planned, you know. Murphy and his law were all up in my space. So I had a really hard time with him leaving because I hadn't seen him in over a week, and he came for one night and then that happened and he was leaving and I already was missing him. And it was really hard for me to just like say goodbye. And I just had to say out loud, I'm having a really hard time accepting this right now, even though I know that it's happening. And just by me saying that out loud, I was given some relief. Like I just did, I don't have to like it, but that's what's happening. And, you know, I fell out of the anxiety, I think faster than if I had just been upset about it. I need to accept that I'm upset about it. And then I don't know how it works. Miraculously, it just kind of just goes on.
Yeah, you're in tune with your body. So you don't have to work as hard as you used to hear, to hear you know what your body is telling you. And so when you hear and notice the anxiety or the frustration or whatever the bubbling up is happening, you catch it sooner. And it doesn't take so much, I got to stop, I got to process, and because you've been conditioning this way of being for so long, it is now stronger than the old way of coping, which is always like so awesome when you can actually go, wow, you know, this way that I really want to be experiencing living has really become my firsthand and not my secondhand nature. So that's amazing. Wow, I love having you all the time. And you have so much brilliance to offer. And seriously, I would like to have you drop your link, your landing page, or whatever it is that, you want to drop in the comments, so that, anybody that would like to learn how to be more in tune with themselves, especially in a recovery journey, and to do so with a calmness, a dignity, and a grace. I am here to tell you firsthand as a witness, Miss Adrian has got some mad skills, and I mean a witness for years. Adrian's not somebody that I met yesterday. We have a long history, and she is just so talented and so gifted with her craft, and I just love having your wisdom in the same space as me. So you are welcome. So with that, I think I invite everybody to connect with Adrian. Just to explore again, let her give you a tool or two that you can use that will help you. And then, don't forget to come back on Friday and listen to the weekly tips and tactics. There'll be, a few bullet points from our conversation today, and also from the core foundational work that we do at Turning Leaves. And yeah, don't hang up just yet, but I will let you say goodbye to everybody. And I will, yeah.
No, I don't know why it double link there. Copy, paste, overdrive. Okay. Thank you for having me. Thank you for mentoring and inspiring me. It would not be where I am today without the Turning Leaves process and program. And I am over the moon about how developed each of these concepts have been placed into our curriculum. When Tricia and I started, she was mailing me hard copies, and I was binding them myself at the copy center. It's not, 5 years ago, it's not like we're back in the ditto days or anything, but yeah, so the accessibility that we have today is just, it's a blessing, it's a phenomenon. And I can't stress enough how transformed my life has been. I went from chronic relapsing to now serving the world in the way I want to serve the world, and the way that I'm called and passionate about it. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're amazing. Thank you again. Definitely. Wow. Okay.
I'd love to hear from you all. Any questions? My phone number is on the website.
Yay.